Hello and good morning. Welcome to the FR Racing's 24-hour coverage of the 2025 iRacing Daytona 24. I'm DJ Fluck. I'll be joined later by Takato Timmerman and newcomer Ryan Johnston as we give you the coverage off and on over this next 24 hours. Meeting the team today, Eric Richardson, Hunter Hughes, Ian Miller, and Tyler Vickery will make up the four-team GTP class entry that will be entering in today's race. Mark Vickers was originally supposed to be part of the team but had to step out due to illness. Ian Miller will be leading the way, starting P8 in the GTP class. Take a look at Daytona. It's the same track from our coverage last week during our GT series. The only difference is instead of 60 minutes, it is a 24-hour race. Appears there is rain in the forecast at some point over the next 24 hours, but for now it is clear. Keep an eye out for turn 1 and then the bus stop at turn 10 on the backstretch. That is where you see most of your incidents. So let's head to the track and we can see everybody is starting to hit grid, and off we go. So the grid begins. Ian Miller will be starting 10th in the class today. Take a look at the starting grid. Starting on pole for this event will be David Tuda, followed by Brian Dees, Angus Stewart, Richard Engel, and Roger Rios. Sorry, on the incorrect page. Man, we're starting early here on the West Coast as cars get rolling. Luis Riva will be starting P1, followed by Frederick Jewel Nielsen. Gabriel Hopp. At 10, Wah Tiba will be 4th. Florian Martin, John Honecker, Brian Martin, and Tyler Cox make up your top 8. Felix Ringhausen, 9th. Ian Miller in the FR Racing entry driving the number 18 will be starting 10th. Bartosz Jusak, Alessandro Serna, Brian Marsteller, Pascal Sear, Kyle Stewart, and Gother Gay make up the top 16. And closing out the GTP class is David Tuda, Brian Dees, Angus Stewart, and then Richard Engel and Roger Rios Matas take the final positions. On to the LMP2 class. Anthony Bill leads the way, followed by Andrew Malinowski, Austin Enstrom, Sean Boundy, Reese, Mackenzie Ellison, Jeremy Lapinus, Diva Sirhan, Spencer Cross, Andreas Olas, Jack McCrevitt, Quinn Gingrich, and Tom Deity close out the class. As traffic is starting to pick up, we're going to head off to the TV camera here as we are underway. We'll get to the GT3 class here in a minute. We got one car going off on turn 1 already, but we are underway for 24 hours. iRacing is currently projecting at 955 laps today, but as weather conditions change, teams pit, team strategies change, that number will fluctuate. Ian Miller's already gained a position and moved into 9th, and we've got a car off. Ian Miller approaches the bus stop. Clean entry into the bus. Oh, and he's off the grass for the first time today. So Looks like no harm, no foul. We'll get an off-track point for that. Every 17 points, it will have a black flag drive-through, so don't want to get too many of those. Get an incident point if you're new to the iRacing platform. Get an incident point for driving off-track, losing control of your car, or getting in a wreck. So the 2 or 4 times points if you get in that wreck. Hopefully Ian stays clean. As he approaches turn 1 and heads to the International Horseshoe, got one car off track as Ian moves ahead into 7th place overall. He's through the International Horseshoe. Dogleg as he moves on to the West Horseshoe and on to the oval of this legendary track. Ian Miller has moved up to 6th place, currently sitting only about 5 seconds back of the overall leader. Lucas Riva currently sits number 1 overall and number 1 in the GTP class in the number 16. Ran a 132.446, his best of the session. Looking at the timing and scoring, there's always a group that doesn't seem to take the green flag. We've got looks like already a handful of GT3s and 1 or 2 GTPs that might be off already, and they have not even taken the green flag. Ian Miller approaches Nielsen for 5th. Frederick Jewel Nielsen ran a 138.452 last time around in that number 10 machine. For those that aren't familiar, the color coding will represent the class of each driver. Yellow will be the GTP class, or they're calling it the GTP Hypercar class this year. The blues will be the LMP2, which there's only one type of car for that, and then the red is the GT3 class. Those aren't not familiar with endurance racing. The GT3s are the slowest cars on the track, and will often get passed and be left many laps down from the LMP2 and especially the GTP class. A common tactic is, as a faster car is approaching and lapping those GT3 cars, you'll see the headlights start to flash as a courtesy that the faster car is coming through, and just giving them a heads up that they are coming through quick and safely let them by as soon as possible. Of course, when you do have a blue flag, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get over. It's a notification, it's a courtesy. A lot of people in iRacing believe that it's their given right to tell people to get out of the way, but that is not the case. As Ian's cruising let's meet the rest of the field. In the GT3 class, we've got Thomas Critchell starting first, Lester Dion in second, Damian Lavange in third, Tim Leach in fourth, Nick Timmermans in fifth, Boyer Diaz in sixth, Marcus Chung in seventh, and Chris Willard rounds out the top 8. Mauro Fernandez, James Simon, Lucas Ackerman, Chris Lee Dos Santos, Christian Markakis, Ken Campbell, Alex DeMarco, and Yaroslav Grabowski make up the top 16. Kyle Popovsky, Dominic Westfall, Matthias Skansi, Sam Daimlo, David Alvarez, Tian Van Rooyen, Renato Jankic, hopefully I got that right, Lucas Bolito, and then closing it out is Manos Kasapis and Andre Lorenko. So I apologize for any names I butchered there, and I'm sure half of them were. So closing back up, Ian Miller is currently sitting about 2.6 seconds back with the overall lead in 6th place this morning. So the plan this morning is I'll be live for about 2.5 hours and then signing off and heading to my kid's birthday party. Oh boy, I'm excited, but this has happened the last 2 years. Taka Timmerman will be jumping in periodically throughout the day until I get back. And we're going to meet a new member of the team, broadcast team, later today. And is there an incident in turn 1? Ian Miller jumps into 4th. Oh no, and Ian Miller's off track in 1. And he's back up, he gets going, and that's going to hurt. He drops down into 15th overall. That's unfortunate. There was a chance where he could have moved up big and unfortunately could not take advantage of it. But we've got chaos in the International Horseshoe, ladies and gentlemen. One car takes a tow. Ian doesn't appear to be too damaged. He is back underway. It's a 24-hour race, folks. We got plenty of time. There's still 23 hours and 51 minutes to go as 2 more cars are off track in the West Horseshoe. Just like that, Ian is back into 12th. The key about one of these events is there are going to be incidents in the 24 hours. People are going to go off track. People are going to spin out. You just hope that you don't have a major incident that results in you having to take a tow and lose about 2 or 3 minutes just to tow back to the pits, followed by that repair time as Ian moves into turn 1, heading past the GT3 car. Oh, we got an incident too with the number 26 spins out in the West Horseshoe. Ian moves up into 11th. See, folks, just like that, Ian fell back to 15th after his incident, but has moved up into 11th that quickly. He's only 13 seconds back in the lead. Pit strategy, incidents, rain, night driving, slower GT3 cars. These are all going to play in big time today over the next 23 hours and 49 minutes. And I need to save my voice. So be quiet here for a little bit. You can enjoy the action. I'll be back momentarily. What?
You're not normally up this early.
I know. I'm broadcasting an event right now.
Oh.
See, I'm live right now on YouTube.
Because of our birthday party.
Well, it's only 6 a.m. You got time to go back to bed if you want.
I don't. Why would I go to bed when I'm this excited for our party? Didn't Mom say something we would leave at like 9 something yesterday?
Something like that. Here, I'm live on YouTube right now, okay? It is hot here. Here, look, don't, if Heidi's sleeping, don't turn the light on.
Where's my birthday dress?
It's hanging in our bathroom.
We went to bed at 9
Shh. Hey.
now.
Ian Miller turns back to his starting spot of P10. Currently sitting about 23 seconds back of the leaders. Like I said, a lot can change. As we reach lap 14 of this event, Ian Miller is cruising currently in 11th place in the GTP Hypercar class. Currently sitting about 15 seconds behind. He's currently on his 15th lap of the stint. I think he's going to be coming in relatively soon for routine service. He may have to get some damage repaired during the stop, but we shall see. Missed it. Ian Miller started 10th, worked his way to 4th, and ended up spinning in turn 1, avoiding a major accident involving 3 or 4 of the GTP class cars. Looks like he avoided any major damage and kept on going, dropped down into 11th, where he is currently sitting. Jump to 9th. We see people starting to take service, it looks like, 15 laps in. Number 10 entry of Primal Racing, currently Frederick Jewel Nielsen, had been leading basically the entire way, but has stopped for service. Don't believe it's anything beyond a regular stop, but we're starting to see cars shift around. Ian's moved up to 8th as we see more cars stopping. I'm also working on trying to get a remote telemetry link set up here, that if you can't follow the broadcast today, you'll be able to follow live timing from this event. Having a hard time finding the session. So I'm being quiet here as I try to find that and get that into the broadcast description. Ian Miller currently cruises, sitting in 9th place overall. I'm not sure what happened. There may have been a timing error with Frederick Nielsen in first, because it looked like he had hit, but apparently it's telling me he didn't. He's currently sitting in first, so maybe he had some kind of internet connection issue that made him so he was not available, but either way, he still currently leads this overall session by about 2.5 seconds over Roger Rios Matthias in High Spirits Racing 21.
When will the sun come out?
Not for like another hour. Like, you don't have to wake up. It's only 6:15. Like, you don't even get up this early on weekdays. It is going to be a long 24 hours. Got a question from Derek, our good friend Derek Booker in the chat. Any rain in the forecast? Appears there will be some later, but it's while broadcasting. iRacing's weather telemetry does not give you a very easy way of pulling up the radar. We'll have to check on that here soon, but it does appear there could be a session rain in the session at least later, but we will see. Currently no rain, track is dry. You can see we got a little bit of overcast, but otherwise a partly cloudy, nice day to start the session off. We just dropped a link in the chat to the live telemetry for the event, so if you are not in a position to be able to watch the session during the next 24 hours, bookmark that link, and you can check in and see how the team's doing in real time anytime over the next 23 hours and 25 minutes. For those not familiar with the team event, currently a team of 4 that will be participating in this event. You can see on the screen currently Ian Miller is in the car. We're going to see Hunter Hughes, Tyler Vickery, and Eric Richardson a little bit later. And they're currently targeting about 3 hour stints per driver throughout this event. So Ian is in our first hour, should be here for another 2. And the current schedule looks like Tyler is going to pick back up in hour 4. Eric in hour 7, Hunter in hour 10. Ian in hour 13, Hunter hour 16, Eric hour 19, and then Tyler Vickery will be closing it out for the last 3 hours. Up into 8th place. He's currently sitting only about a second behind 7th. Ian moves into 7th place, heading into turn 1. We've got an off track here. Ian will sneak by and pick up another spot, moving into 6th. Taking off the field nicely. Let's take a minute to talk about what's coming up this week on Stadium Team TV. On Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, an all-new episode of The Daily Dribble airs right here on this same channel, so be sure to like and subscribe. Nick Zammit is looking at his preseason NBA predictions for the Western Conference teams and see what he got right and what he got way wrong. For those who don't know, Nick is from Australia and is a big fan of the NBA and gives his perspective trying to follow the league halfway around the world. Very interesting perspective, very knowledgeable perspective, and well worth checking out. The show runs about 20 minutes long. Be sure to tune in 5 p.m. Eastern Monday right here on Stadium Scene TV as the GT3 misses his braking zone and goes right across the grass in the bus stop. Our flagship racing series Wednesday Night Dash heads to Kansas Speedway this week, Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. The Daytona race was relatively uneventful this time around. We had a big incident around lap 8 last week that involved a decent chunk of the field, but otherwise only a couple other small incidents after that, and good finish with Eric Mattingly getting the win. The results have still not been finalized. The competition committee is looking at an appeal from one of the drivers who was black flagged on the restart. It was a very, very strange experience with one of the drivers. His internet session during that final restart with 2 to go was starting 4th. His car disappeared off track and then reappeared ahead of everybody else before the start finish line. It was black flagged, but tried to get back in line. The outside line didn't go. People passed to avoid wrecks. Black flags were given. It was a mess. So that is still being sorted out, and with this event this weekend, that didn't help for timing. So hopefully we should have some resolution on that by Monday and get those results officially certified as we move on to Kansas this week. The Indy Racing World Series is back February 4th, which is Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. We still have space in that league for about 7 or so more drivers. So if you want to race Indy cars, check out the schedule on the screen right now and head to frracingonline.com/IRWS to learn more and sign up, as Ian Miller is entering the pits for his first scheduled stop. Made about 29 laps on this stint before he stops for tires and fuel. We'll see how long he pits to see if there's any optional damage that needs to be repaired. He avoided any major damage during his early spin out, avoiding a bigger wreck, but we'll see if he runs a longer than normal pit stop here. And off he goes. So if there was any optional damage, it was very, very minimal, or he opted not to repair it. So looked like a pretty normal length stop for Ian Miller as he starts his second stint, as we're about 14 minutes away from completing the first hour of our 24-hour race. Apologize earlier, I went to use the off button and turned off the broad game audio instead of my off red mode. I'm sure that was lovely for the first thing this morning. Apologies for that. We're still working out the kinks as we get this broadcast going. As pit strategies differ, we're starting to see some people take some stops. Some of the early stoppers are moving up. Ian is currently sitting 5th overall, about 16 seconds back of the leader. And if I'm losing my voice in the first hour, we're in big trouble this weekend. So, Ian Miller currently sitting in the top 6. We had 59 cars join this session, but we've had 5 drop out already, so still 54 cars on track at the same time is a pretty large field. And I believe last year, I think the session was about 48. Previous year entered as the history of the team entry, the first year, which was 2023, entered as a GT3 class car. And year 2 moved into the LMP2 series, and then this year with the new Ferrari, moved into the GTP/Hypercar series, as they're calling it. And first year, the session somehow ended up lining up that there were only GT3 cars on the track. So one of the often criticisms of GTP drivers on this platform is some drivers feel that because they're significantly faster than everyone else that they have the right of way and can just plow right through and often cause incidents. But so far things have been relatively clean. We've seen a couple of rough moments early on, but as time has gone on in this first hour, the field started to space out a little bit. People started taking their different pit strategies, and overall we've seen some pretty good racing as Ian is currently sitting in 5th place, about 5 seconds back of 4th. Only about 5 seconds back at that podium position. Take a moment to shout out some of our other friends who will be in various sessions over the weekend. First off, found out Fernando Takahashi from our Wednesday Night Dash League, who did our charity race with us last year, will be running, actually is in a session this morning. He is not in this one as far as I can tell. I don't believe he is, but we might be surprised we see some names start to cycle. I may just not recognize the team name. Our former broadcaster from Wednesday Night Dash, Eli Singh, and his team, the Pun Crew. As we got a car off track as Ian moves up. We'll be running multiple cars across various sessions. completing our first hour. Standing so far. After 1 hour, High Spirits Racing is sitting in the lead overall with beginners Fluck in second, Hot Dan's at Daytona in third, Primal Racing in fourth, Full Lead Racing in fifth, Ian Miller in the FR Racing entry is in sixth, Shift Face Motorsports, I'll be careful as I say that this weekend, is seventh, Paddock Racing Team in eighth, Satanas et Diablo in ninth, The Scars Remind Me in 10th. TC8 Racing Team in 11th, Humbug Racing in 12th, Orange Speed SRT Blue in 13th, Victoria's Secret Swimwear Team. These team names are excellent. Future Impact Racing in 15, and then Team 54 number 2 is in 16th for the GTP class. On the LMP2 side, Monstar Motors is sitting in first, JTD Motorsports in second, Mac Tools SRE Car 78 is in third, Mad Sim Racing is in fourth, Thermal Racing Green is in sixth, Team RedX.com 802 is in seventh, Deja Vu Racing Team Gold in eighth, HTH Slipstream in ninth, and then the Jark Team Deluge is in 10th. Adare Red is in 11th, and moving on to the GT3 class. Let's Talk More Racing in first, OGRL Delta 6 Black in second, LNR GT3 was the top three. Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing, Future Racing Team, Sim Racing Belgium, G-Fair Motorsports, Moradis M Squad is in 8th, Garage Thoughts Motorsports, Garage Thoughts, not Garage Talk, which will be back next week, is in 9th, Vark Enduro Team, Fire Ants Racing, Zek Racing, SRT, PTTM Motorsports is in 13th, Club 100 GT3 Clubman, that's hard to say, is in 14th, Drunken Skunks 004 is in 15th, Car Russell Race Team, 4Y Motorsports, Boosted Toaster Motorsports is in 18th. And the remaining entries of Legion Sim Racing, Cat Bass Racing, 4M Racing, Endurance Racing for Simpletons, rough name, Leva Racing Team have left the competition after 1 hour. Step away here for a couple of minutes and let the AI director take control, and I'll be back shortly. Ian has moved into 4th place. Looks like 5th place. This could be another scoring glitch. But still, he's something goofy's going on here. So you got yeah, there's some kind of scoring glitch going on here. So this currently shows Ian is 11 seconds back in 4th place, but the gap between the two is showing only 1 second, so this might be just something that what are we doing here? Let's go on board with you right now. Still not sure what's going on with the timing. It might be a track rendering issue. I think the issue right now, I thought I had it set to render 60 cars on the track at a time. And for those not familiar with iRacing, you can actually set that it'll only show you the closest so many cars. If let's just say your graphics card isn't great, or your processor's not great, or your internet connection is not great. So the problem with that is if you say you've got 55 cars right now, I believe is the current number on the track, but you're only rendering 48, that means that those 7 cars that are furthest away from you will disappear off track, which could be a leader. And I think that may have been what happened, but I'm pretty confident. I have mine set to 60, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. I have had some issues with my internet this week. If you watched Wednesday Night Dash, you saw I was what they call blinking pretty wildly with internet connection stability issues, which I rarely ever have, but we'll have to take a look at that. I may have to get back into the weekly reboot of my modem before we go into sessions. As we hit the hour and 20-minute mark, iRacing is projecting about 936 laps for the lead cars on the GTP Hyperclass for this 24-hour event. currently looking at the forecast as Ian moves up into the podium positions, 8 seconds off the lead. Starting to see a little pit strategy cycle through once again, but you're 56 laps in, you're about an hour and a half into the 24 hours, and you're 4 seconds off the overall event lead. That's not too shabby. Let's take a look and see what 5 seconds looks like. Ian is on the oval, about to head to the bus stop. 5 seconds is through the bus stop, so and back onto the oval again. Ian is through the bus stop. It's gonna be a good battle watching Tyler Cox in the 27 versus Ian Miller. As Ian stops for service, as does Tyler Cox. So we're going to see a shift in the leaders. Let's change to a better camera here. That's worse. There we go. It's just a standard stop for service here. From his service and heads back on track for his third stint. And we'll re-enter the track in 6th place. Tyler Cox, who pit just ahead of Ian, still sits about 5 or 6 seconds ahead of him. So as Ian gets up to speed, we'll see if he can gain any ground on Tyler in the 27. So as pitch strategies start to even out, Ian is back into 4th place, sitting about 7 seconds behind Tyler Cox for 3rd. So it looks like things are pretty much playing out the way they were before the cycle of stops started. I'm going to be on the air for about another 45 minutes or so, and then we'll be signing off for a little bit, and then Takato Timmerman will be picking up and taking over after that for a bit. Working with Taka to figure out when he'll be signing out again. We'll post on social media, but just keep an eye, hit that subscribe button, put the alerts on when we go live. You'll be notified. You can hop right back in and watch. So thank you everyone for tuning in this morning. We appreciate it. But one little change from our last 2 years is we will not be running the full 24-hour stream. We'll be cycling in and out as announcers are available. And we're not going to do, last year we tried the AI race director during the overnight hours and didn't seem to care for that. I didn't either, but that's okay. But also could have been during the overnight hours, wasn't too terribly exciting. But we're experimenting, we're trying to make this coverage, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's our big event of the year. Well, we're trying to make it as engaging as possible, so despite the fact that I'm in the broadcast booth. So again, thank you for tuning in and watching this morning. As Ian makes quick work of that GT3 car. Cut the gap to about 6 seconds. Third, so let's see his last roughly 85 minutes or so behind the wheel. We'll see how much of that gap he can cut. We have seen some driver changes already. This specifically the Future Impact Racing team, currently sitting in 8th place. Grady Graham is now driving for them. I'm seeing some new names pop in here, so we'll be running the 18 all event. So if the name will change, but the 18 will stay the same. Just a reminder, Tyler Vickery will be taking over at the 3-hour mark approximately, followed by Eric Richardson and Hunter Hughes. And then Ian will run his second stint at about hour 13 of this event, which will be roughly about 8:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. And then going into the overnight hours, you'll have Hunter and Eric, and then Tyler Vickery closing out his 24 hours for the team. So far so good. Running in 4th place. Ian started 10th overall. Moved up quickly. We've had some variety of little incidents here and there on the track. As a recap, Ian had to avoid a big incident in turn 1 around lap 4, which resulted in him losing control and spinning out into the grass. No damage. Lost a lot of places, fell down to as low as 15th, but has picked back up and just started plucking drivers off left and right as he comes around to complete his 60-second lap. Moving on to lap 63. And he currently sits in 4th place, only 16 seconds off the overall event lead. Very, very encouraging. I think he should be very happy with his stint so far as he continues on, and Tyler will be picking up the slack here in about 80 minutes or so. podcast. Redo that. Wow, yeah, still early. Need that second cup of coffee, most likely. Coming up on Stadium Scene TV this week, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, an all-new episode of The Daily Dribble. Host Nick Samet gives you his NBA perspective following the league halfway around the world from Australia. Nick this week will go over his preseason NBA Western Conference predictions, see where he went right, see where he went wrong. That's The Daily Dribble, 5 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Stadium Scene TV, right here on Facebook. Or on Facebook. On YouTube and Facebook. Man, I do need that second cup of coffee. You can see watching the tower that several drivers have changed positions with one of their team members, where the FR Racing strategy is going to do stints of 3 hours and cycling every 3 hours, and some teams have been switching out after about 90 minutes or so, and there's, you got to make a pit stop, you got to do a driver change. Yeah, it adds up, those additional driver changes. So then again, you have to battle driving for 3 straight hours. You've got fatigue there, especially getting these overnight hours when you're typically not awake. And we'll see which strategy pays off in the end. And we got another car off track, and Ian narrowly avoids it. He's cut the deficit to only about 2 seconds behind 3rd place right now, so he is rapidly approaching podium positions. And just like that, he had to maneuver through 3 slower cars and handled that with ease. But sometimes you get into these moments with a lot of traffic, slower cars, people panic, and you've got various levels of experience, and that can change things very quickly for teams and for these drivers. That you're cruising, next minute you're in an accident, you have to take a tow, you lose laps, and your podium dreams are finished for this event. That's frustrating. Ian handled that last one extremely well and cruised right through. I'll have to play with my settings before I come back to see if we can render a few more cars on track. And maybe people have dropped out by then, but I swear I have it set to 60 cars rendered. It's clearly not working that way, because as you can see, the timeouts are show people pitting, but it's not. It's, iRacing allows you to limit how many cars are rendered on your broadcast or even racing at any given time. That way it eases the resources, it eases the amount of strain on your gaming PCs. So my broadcast PC that I'm running off is not quite as powerful as the one I race on over my sim rig. So, whoa, and Ian loses it. You can see with the iRacing debris refresh, debris is all over that track. There's some, you've got rubber down, you've got rocks, you've got grass. Yeah, it's adds a whole different dynamic to the track, and there's not any cautions out there for come around and clean that up. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work in a 24-hour event. If you're just going to leave rocks and debris just sitting on the track, you can see the grass sitting off on the edge of the entrance of the bus stop right there. How is that going to impact things in 24 hours? Is this track going to be a total mess of rock and grass and tire debris? We'll find out. guess if we do see rain, that could be add an interesting dynamic with the debris on track. And I just talked to Timmerman. He is on his way in, and we'll pick up the next stint here as I step out to go get rid of my kids' birthday party. 7 years old. Wins are 27. Just to recap our opening stint here with Ian Miller. Ian is closing in on starting his final hour of the 2025 Daytona 24. Ian will be running 3-hour shifts, or actually the team will be running 3-hour shifts with Tyler Vickery picking up here in about an hour. Ian qualified P10, worked his way up to about P4. Spun in turn 1, avoiding an accident. Had a second spin a little while ago, but has maintained his P4 position. Currently sitting about 10 seconds behind the podium positions. Still on the lead lap, only 28 seconds behind. The longer 3-hour stint seems to have helped so far as teams have changed out drivers, and that driver switch, the extra time from that's time on track that Ian's either gained on the leaders or pulled away from. So good start so far. Should have Takato Timmerman joining here momentarily. Figure what Ian's incident counter looks like right now. Talked about I believe every 17 incident points is of course, the incident counter is not updating in our timing and scoring, unfortunately, so we cannot see when you may have to make that trip down pit lane to serve your penalty every 17 incident points. Ian's had a couple of off tracks, a couple of spins. So I mean, it's inevitable in this event. You know, you're running 24 hours. There's going to be incidents. There's going to be off tracks. There will be penalties served. So it's just because you get one is not the end of the world in this event. Taka, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Sorry for showing up super late. Had some struggles this morning.
Saturday morning.
Oh yeah.
We're joined here. Taka Timmerman is here with us. He'll be, as soon as I sign off here, he'll be picking up the next hit. But so far, recap for you. Ian Miller qualified P10, worked his way up pretty quickly to P4, and then on around lap 4 or so, there was a decent-sized incident in turn 1, and had to go wide to avoid it, spun out, lost about 10, 11 positions, and ended up in 15th. Worked his way back up to 4th and has been hanging out there ever since. And that is the recap of your first 2 hours and 4 minutes of the event.
Yeah, as DJ said, I'll be on after DJ leaves. There'll be a little bit of time between when the stream ends and when the next stream will start. Do need to build some things on, set some things up on my end. I'm not sure what happened, but my settings were a little messed up. So I'm sorry about the being quiet for a little bit. Volume was very loud for the engine noise, and I wasn't able to hear what DJ said. But we should be here for the driver change from Ian to Tyler, which will happen around, I believe it's 9:30 and 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I've got about another hour left until then. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you being on with us this morning.
I'm going to probably be signing off here shortly, so Taka and I are going to coordinate a handoff here shortly, and we'll be back to take the second stint. So Taka, just let me know when you're ready. I'll sign off, and then you can sign in. We're going to try this differently this year for those who aren't familiar. I had myself muted on Discord so you couldn't hear me. Broadcast heard me. So we're trying something a little different this year that, you know, the last two years we ran a 24-hour long broadcast. YouTube doesn't really like when you do that, and you can't go back and watch it later. We also noticed too that when we were away and letting the AI director kind of take control, it the retention of viewers was less. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to break this up into multiple stints of the broadcast. We're going to, I've been in here now for about, almost 2.5 hours now this morning. And I'm going to sign off, and then Taka will sign back into a second, we'll call it part 2 of the broadcast, and when he's done and has to step away, he'll sign off. And, we're not going to cover the full 24 hours this year, but we're going to get a decent chunk of it, the exciting parts. We'll get the beginning, we'll get the end, and we'll get pieces in between. So, Taka and I are going to coordinate a handoff here. We're going to go and shut the broadcast down for a few minutes when we're ready, and as soon as he's ready, he'll sign back on and we'll go. Yeah, Taka, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're muted or not in
Yeah, I'm mute.
the...
I was
There
muted.
we go. Okay. So I'm gonna
Sorry.
yeah, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna sign off. Taka's gonna get ready for part 2, and he'll be back here in a little bit. So thanks for watching. We'll be back for part 2 here shortly.